Deji vs Alex Wassabi is a fight that is going to break numbers. Oh no, I read that wrong. A fight that is going to break the expectations of the event organizers, who for some reason think there will be another chance of a second event. I'm saying this with anger though, because as much as some people hate it, I love YouTube boxing. Like, come on, every big Tyson Fury fight or Anthony Joshua fight is maybe twice a year if we are lucky. Maybe I'm just a man-child, but I'll be the first to admit that these fights are entertaining and something Showtime or Sky Sports cannot offer. I'm just hoping this is not a repeat of TikTok versus YouTube, as the fighters do deserve to get paid for their hard work. Except Bryce Hall, is the fact he didn't get paid was more satisfying than actually seeing him get defeated. In today's video I am going to be predicting all the fights. These include Deji vs Alex, Kenny vs Temper, Arms vs Minicon, and Halal Ham and his unknown opponent. Before we start, it is getting nervously close to March 5th, so I hope the rest of the fights get released soon. Number 1. Halal Ham vs No One. Whoever Halal fights will have to be fairly experienced, as Halal does have quite a bit of experience. Obviously I cannot predict anything for this fight as there is no other opponent, although I do have a suggestion for who I think he should fight. The one and only. Sorry, I read that wrong again. The only one I do not know on the YouTube boxing scene, DK Money. Jokes aside, all I know is that this guy has had a couple of fights but is still not as well known as the people he is calling out. So if he fought Halal Ham, we would be able to see if he is genuinely good or not, also giving him that extra bit of clout for future fights. Number 2. Arms vs Minicon. I watched Arms in the octagon a couple of months ago and was fairly impressed. Although the fight was boring, you could tell he had trained hard and had good coaches around him. As for Minicon, I think this is his debut fight, and from the short amount of footage I have seen of him training, I think Arms takes this by decision. I would say knockout, although the fight's in heavyweight, so the chances of them gassing out are high, and especially because this is both their first boxing fight, I don't think they will have the experience to take advantage of that. But the fact it is heavyweight does make a knockout more justifiable betting-wise. Number 3. Vitali vs Kristen Hanby. Notice how I didn't say this fight at the beginning? Well, that's because I completely forgot about it. That may be because of my utter laziness, or the fact I think this is the most random fight considering I haven't heard of Vitali in years, and the other guy I never even knew before. Either way, I think Vitali murders this poor man, only due to the supposed experience he has in boxing. I have a feeling this fight could be really good or really bad, but to be safe I'm saying Vitali decision or early knockout. Number 4. King Kenny vs FaZe Temper. Words cannot explain how excited I am for this fight. Kenny has been gassing up his boxing skills for over a year now, and Temper has always been known for his fighting experience. Watching this live is gonna be great, even if there is no knockout, because only one of these men are gonna leave with potential to move on to bigger things in the YouTube boxing scene, whereas the other will just go back to normal. I think Kenny will get the knockout later in the fight. I must admit this is very biased considering we have seen neither fight, but from the fact Kenny has been posting pictures of him training for a while, I am confident he will get the KO, but in all fairness I would not be surprised on any outcome this fight could have, as only Kenny and Temper know their ability at the moment. Number 5. Deji vs Alex. Before I start this, let me tell you in what direction I'm going with this by one sentence. If Deji fucking loses, I will never support that fat ass boy ever again. Let's continue. Deji seems to be training hard, but so does Alex based on their Instagram and YouTube. Although, Deji has been known for putting out a false narrative when training through social media, and for Alex we simply do not know if he is training effectively. I hope this is not the case for either, as I want to see a good fight, but with all that in mind I think the mental weight Deji has on his mind will make him gas out from nerves and fear. I'm not saying he will be scared of Alex, but more so the fear of losing. But what gives me hope is the fact Alex has been knocked out before. That sounds brutal, but I don't think he is a good boxer, so if Deji can make it through the early rounds, I think he could win by points, or even better, get that knockout. Looking back on it, Alex has been put down 2 times on camera by opponents, so the chance of it happening in sparring too is likely. I'm not saying the fact he has been knocked down already is the reason he could lose, as obviously he now has that extra experience to get back up, but it is clear he has a problem with receiving pain as well as a weak jaw, which is good for Deji as he has a lot of power. So obviously if Deji's stamina does not fail him, I think he could win, but if his nerves break him down and he doesn't become active until halfway through the fight, I believe there is a chance Alex could potentially win on points. Why not a KO, you ask? Because I truly believe Alex does not have the power to do so, and as badly as Deji lost in his last fight, I don't believe he will touch the ground. I originally thought this fight would be boring, but I genuinely am the most excited for it. I think Kenny and Temper deserved the main card, let's be honest, but if Deji wins, I think that gives leeway to more events like this happening, despite what I said at the beginning. Anyway, as they are all the fights announced so far, far, let's talk about who should be added. Bryce Hall versus Ed Matthews. This would be so funny just for the press conferences alone. Anisong Gibb versus Anthony Taylor. Despite Anthony's past fights, this one would be the closest he has to winning. As for one, he literally fought a Fury, and for two, Gibb has only fought YouTubers. Plus Anthony has Jake Paul on his side, so he can have pointers and tactics to beat him. This would never happen, but Tommy Fury versus Tyron Woodley would bring this event into the mainstream a lot more, giving this event a lot more exposure, but Showstar would have to pay them so much, which they obviously do not have yet as far as I'm aware. I am so excited for this event, but I hope Showstar do it properly with the intentions on entertainment rather than the money. Something Fight Lounge, who are a fight account on all social medias, said on Twitter, which is so important, is that the fighters should promote this through YouTube, doing things such as podcasts and interviews with fellow YouTubers, using their platforms to their advantage. I'm also thrilled with the fact the Wade Concept is a commentator, as he has such a professional way of talking about these fights. Showstar are on the right track at the moment with all the stuff they're doing. I just hope it goes well, considering I just bought my ticket and I want to see a show. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like and comment, as I would appreciate that a lot. See you later and thank you for watching.